Some Nibbles. J-Dog back to answer more goddamn questions. Questions we're going over today. Got two order questions first. Then off to the next video line full of questions, goddammit. First one's from Nathan Sullivan. Pretty sure he's answered stuff before. At least placed orders. But yeah, this was on his order of the day. He says, question for the channel, J-Dog. What do you think of the tech death metal phenomenon, which was popularized with bands like Necrophagius and Decapitated? Timeless and influential metal classics or meaningless musical wankery. Also, there is this metal YouTuber with a somewhat sizable channel. Oh, I've heard this guy, Ray Rauta, Rauta from Finland. Isn't he the guy that interviewed Lori from Satanic Warmaster? And it was like, I think it was audio only though. If that's him, yes, I've heard of him because people told me about it and I went and checked it out, and seems like a respectable channel. He is aware of you and your channel. Oh, is he really? News to me. And is wanting to collab. He said that? Your two common interests are extreme metal and powerlifting. Interested? Question mark. Cheers, Nate Red. Yeah, send him over. Tell him to email me at service@hellsheadbangers.com. We'll get something set up. Yeah, be all fucking for it. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know I watched that. I think one other video that he did in person at a concert it was that he did. Isn't he like bald and probably a little bit older than me, in his 40s? I'm almost positive I know who you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, I'd be up for going collaborating with him. I didn't know he was aware of who I am, and if it was that he gave a shit. But that's cool. Yeah, absolutely. Let's collab. Hit me up, brah. Service@hellsheadbangers.com. To answer your first question, the tech death metal. Necrophagius, when they put their first album out, was the first album on set to Putrefaction. I thought it was kind of cool. Kind of a touch much, but I kind of liked it because I heard it when it came out, and it was like, whoa, wow, like literally nothing sounded like that. So it was enjoyable for that. But that was kind of like my cutoff. I was like, I don't need anything else that sounds like this because it was already kind of hard to follow as is. But just for the fact that it was so new sounding that it was pretty enjoyable. Decapitated, I never got into. I was at a show that they played at. I think they opened up for Grave. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's early 2000s. I think it was for the Grave tour. It was one of those deals. I was in the room. What they're playing, I wasn't paying attention because I never cared about them from day one. It's just pretty much all that technical death metal shit for the most part. I don't like. Now some people. It depends on what you define as technical death metal too. Some people would throw Dying Fetus in there. Some people would throw later Cannibal Corpse in there. I'm not saying I do, so chill the fuck out. I'm saying I have heard that before. People say that. I like those, so I guess if you count that, then I like some technical death metal. But even stuff like Atheist and shit, I never liked personally. So I'm the wrong guy to ask. But I don't think it's complete. What did he say? Meaningless musical wankery. I wouldn't go as far as saying that. I think it's just style of music that's probably very talented that just did nothing for me personally. So I just skip and go on about my day, but it doesn't annoy me by any stretch or anything like that. Next goddamn question is from Corbin Valentina. Hey J-Dog, recommend me some recent bands you've been playing. Need some new bands, brah. Peace. Yeah, the recent times, not too many, other than I told you about Caustic Phlegm. That demo came out last year. Still waiting for our 7-inch to come up, but I'm pretty sure it is at the plant. I saw the band emailed us. I was CC'd on it. I was to an email to Chase that I was attached to, asking for an update. I remember Chase did reply with a date. I'm almost positive it's this year. That demo I thought was extremely good. They released a single as well, just on YouTube, which I think it's the current thing to do, I guess. I think it's lame as fuck when all you do is a release on YouTube only, digital release, they call it. I'm sure it's not YouTube only. You probably buy it on Bandcamp and shit, I'm assuming. But there's not a physical format. But it was one song, forget what it was called. But that I listened on YouTube like 3 times now. I thought that was very, very good, their new song. So it's good to see that they're not shitting the bed already, because part of the reason I thought that demo was so good by the Caustic Phlegm was kind of the way it sounded. But the vocals really killed, and the overall sound of it was awesome. Kind of reminded me of the Putrefaction Painful Death demo from '89. That's what I thoroughly enjoyed about it. But the new track was good. So them, I like that. The Cemeterian, I really liked that, especially the demo. They did a split 7-inch with that Absconder. That's all I know that they've done, to my knowledge. That's a couple years old now, and I've talked about on this channel. Eat the Decay. That demo is we're doing the demo on vinyl. That'll probably be out early next year by the time it's done. But the cassette's out, and I'm pretty sure the CD's out of it too. It's all the same release. It's just their demo. Um, One label did the cassettes, another label did the CDs, and then we're doing the vinyl version. But the same thing. But Eat the Decay, I definitely enjoyed that as a new band. Listen to. Who else? I told you about that, guys. I've been around a new band. I guess they've been around since for a while now, well over 10 years. I forget what they told me, maybe 2000, early 2000s, maybe. That band from Chicago. I think they're from Chicago. Saw them in Chicago, anyways. That band, Dead Knights. They have 3 CDs for sure. They gave me all 3 at the show. I thoroughly enjoyed all 3 discs, very much so. So I talked about them on this channel before, so check them out. Hells doesn't have anything about them in stock, not that I'm aware of, anyways. Yeah, I never heard of them. They came up to us, gave us their discs, and I was like, yeah, I'll go watch the band. Cool. And even live, I thought it was fucking great. I thought they're a really good band. So them, yeah, just not Dead Up Night. Dead Up Night was a great band from Cleveland, Ohio. That just did one demo. Just Dead Night. And I'm pretty sure it's from Chicago. I thought that's what they said. Maybe that was just in my head because the show was in Chicago. I don't know, but I think that's what they said from a local band in that area. Outside that, I've listened to newer stuff, but it's either really old things that I'm hearing for the first time, or, for example, I picked up the new Immortal album. I picked up the new LP at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Nuclear Blast was vending there, and it was the day it came out, that Friday. So I was all right. There's a color vinyl. I picked it up. I just listened to that. Actually, I just listened to that today. Thought it was good. So it's the first non-Abath album that I own. Um, yeah, I thought it was good shit. So, but that's not like a new band. That's just a new album by a band that I've always liked, right? So, other than the obvious that I brought up a million times, like I said, the Pharmacists, the Spiders, the Morgulls, yeah, I'm drawing a blank as to who, like, newer bands that I've found out about. Because, like I said, pretty much all the ones I found about somebody I was really impressed by. I pretty much have. There might be one or two I overlooked, but I pretty much brought them up on the channel, recommended them, and probably even showed the physical copy. So that's what comes to my goddamn head. Anyways, questions on the next video. Let's see what the fuck we got. It's on the video 3 weeks ago. Portal story time with Dawg. It was on that video. 195 comments. What the fuck is this? Non-serviam. He's coming for pro wrestlers are the most talented athletes. Quotation marks. It's not even a fucking sport, brah brah. It's like this take is worse than CC being the greatest death metal band. Well, for starters, who the fuck do you consider to be the greatest death metal band as far as not your personal bias either? Like to say something like somebody that was like short lived but good. Baphomet. That's Sean Hare, right? They're the greatest death metal band ever. That's just a dumb statement. You could say that's your favorite death metal record of all time. What would make them the greatest death metal band of all time? They did one full length, kind of two, if you count that test pressing release that was under the same name but different recording, and a couple EPs and demos. Like, how could you argue that they're the fucking greatest death metal band? Other bands that you could argue that are not completely talking out of your ass is bands like Deicide, Morbid Angel, Immolation, Incantation. Um, you could even mention somebody like Asphyx. They got to have a fucking catalog. They got to have been around well over 20 years to be considered the greatest death metal band of all time. I mean, to say Cannibal Corpse is that's not some outlandish statement, even if you don't like them. Like I'm pretty sure most people could understand. Oh yeah, I disagree with that statement, but I can see where he's coming from. I mean, that's not like totally out of this fucking world, as opposed to something the dummies on fucking Revolver might say, like some bullshit you never even heard of, and you're like, is it even death metal? Like I'm sure those guys would have something completely stupid to say over there. I didn't say anything like that, so I'm kind of mind blown as to how you think that's that ridiculous statement. And as far as pro wrestlers aren't athletes. I mean, aren't it's not even a sport. It doesn't need to be a sport. It's an athletic endeavor. And technically speaking, that term sport means jack shit. Golf is technically a sport. You're telling me those guys are more fucking talented than a pro wrestler? I'm sorry, but they're not. People are like, oh, there's got to be talented to be golf. Yeah, you can. But at the same time, for example, the odds are extremely low. But if you were to go golfing, is it physically possible that you can hit the ball for the hardest hole or whatever that someone and get a hole in one? Yeah, it is possible. You could get lucky. It's kind of like winning the lottery. It's extremely unlikely. And if Vegas was taking bets, the odds would be completely against you. But it is possible. You can get lucky. Could you go into a wrestling ring and do those moves that those guys are doing, especially of nowadays? I mean, I don't watch it, but I've seen it here and there at BW3s or something having wings and it's on the TV. It's like, holy shit, I could not fucking do it. They're practically flying in the air and doing all this other crap. You would have zero chance of doing that. That you cannot do by luck. Even the fucking fat ball game. If you went on a fucking NFL fat ball game, you dressed up and shit, is it possible that the quarterback could throw you the ball, you catch it, and make a touchdown? Yeah, the answer is yes. Now it's unlikely. It's unlikely because chances are you're going to get fucking ass tackled to the ground, etc. by the pros. I get that, but it is possible for you to do any of the wrestling shit with no training or whatever. It is physically impossible for you to do. So some of this, could you throw a basketball from far away in the NBA and make it in the basket? It is possible. Again, unlikely that you're going to be able to hang with those guys, but a possibility, very small possibility. So yes, that is how I define that. I would say that they are the most talented athletes of all time. Again, I'm saying that I'm biased. I don't even watch wrestling. I don't give a fuck. I couldn't name you one guy that's current, not one. I have no idea. Don't follow. Don't give a shit. But I give credit where credit is due. I've seen it. Those are some talented ass motherfuckers that no, I cannot do any of that shit, nor can your ass. Well, how do you know J Dog never met me? I don't need to. You can't do it. It's guaranteed you can't fucking do it. And I've had a friend who literally was in the WWE, WWF, whatever the fuck it's called. And I've heard stories. I'm just telling you right now, it's hard as fuck. You couldn't fucking do it. And again, it's called a sport. They call bowling a fucking sport. What's give me a fucking break. People go bowling every Friday night just for shits and grins and get strikes all the time. It's not a fucking sport. So it depends on what you define as a sport. But it's definitely an athletic endeavor. And I said most talented athletes. And I'm not alone in thinking that. I know there's lots of other guys that are in all kinds of sports, follow all kinds of sports, that agree with that 100%. So both statements are not asinine whatsoever. And to be honest with you, pretty fucking accurate. So I would love to hear what your fucking ridiculous ass goddamn take is. Live Eternal question marks. Of all the cryptid creatures throughout the world, which one do you find most believable? They're all pretty goddamn far fetched, right? I mean, I guess the one that I would like to be the most believable is I like werewolves. I thought they're cool. I don't know. Maybe a fucking one of those trolls under the bridge or fucking a leprechaun or something. Maybe that'd be the most believable if I had to pick one. I guess there's people that legitimately believe that Bigfoot exists, right? I don't think anybody legitimately thinks that leprechauns exist, right? So maybe go with Bigfoot if you would count, because there's people, from what I understand, granted I don't know if I know anybody in person, um, that are, you know, rather intelligent that they actually believe that that shit does exist. So maybe they know something I don't. So I guess if I had to pick which one's the most believable, gun to my head, I guess it's go Bigfoot. But for the goddamn record, do I think Bigfoot exists? No, I don't. So don't come over here saying, again, taking me out of context, saying something fucking stupid. Oh, those athletes. I mean, come on, guys. Think before some of the shit you say. Ryan at 0 2. Rah, question. Does your Toxic Holocaust album ranking match mine? Question mark. And what are your favorite tune skis by Toxic? I'm sure mine matches yours a hell of a lot closer than it does Danny Nelson's Malignancy, because Ryan his balls, man. I was like, doesn't like him from Toxic, but never heard him, goddammit. Pulling that down in the dead shit. I was like, dude, you minimally gotta listen to some Evil Never Dies. So I'll check it out. He did it, though. I'm sure he did it. I've told him multiple times, even texted him since. So here's his favorites. Evil Never Dies. Well, that's number one for me. Yep. Overdose of Death. That is number one. That is number two for me. Yes, first album on Relapse Records. I mean, Nuke the Cross, Wild Dogs, In the Name of Science, fucking Lord of the Wasteland. I mean, banger of a record. Hell on Earth. Yeah, Hell on Earth probably would be my third favorite one. Yeah, Hell on Earth probably would be my third. Chemistry, but Chemistry and Primal. Which one did you forget? You forgot one. With all black and white cover. The song with the one with bitch on it. Which what the fuck is that one? I'm drawing a blank on the goddamn name. Primal's the last one, right? Primal Future. My least favorite Toxic Holocaust. So it seems like you forgot. Conjure Command. Yeah, you forgot that one. Um, Mine's very very similar to yours. Yes, almost spot on exactly. As a matter of fact, but Primal and Conjure Command. Those are my least favorite ones. You kind of flip them around. Although the song "Bitch" is extremely fantastic, I will say that. But yeah, those are one of those would be fighting for last place. So yeah, pretty much similar. But you left out Contra Command. Maybe that just means you think it completely sucks balls altogether. Which I don't agree with that. I mean, I like it the least, but I still like it very much so. Little Lover 90 question: Band battle, Gore versus Ghoul. For me, it's not even a battle. Ghoul sends Gore home on a fucking stretcher. Now, don't get me wrong. Ghoul's more popular. Gore is more popular. Gore is more influential. I'm sure they've had an influence on Ghoul. Not saying any of that. They were before him. Not arguing any of that. Just saying who do I personally like and listen to more? Ghoul all day, every day. I mean, in fact, I own every Ghoul record. I don't own a single Gore record. So I guess that should tell you everything you need to know. Ricky Jones, what's up, Devils? What is your favorite rock album? Not a big rocker, as you guys know. Let's go with AC/DC Back in Black or AC/DC Highway to Hell. Those are the only two AC/DC albums that I liked every single song on. So yeah, I think I'd have to say those as far as rock albums. I would say that. Andrew Gabriel, what do you think of the band's Immortal Suffering and Eternal Suffering? Some of those are my favorites. Um, Eternal Suffering, that's the fucking was that Rebirth by Tragedy? Is that the New Jersey one, New York one? What the fucking Mr. Rogers intro? That's a good album. Definitely like that. Um, and Immortal Suffering. I'm trying to think which one is that? Is that the Colombian one or is that Eternal Suffering? What's the Colombian one that sounds just like goddamn Disgorge? Disgorge, California. Put it on, you're like this, especially vocally. Like this sounds like Maddie Way. That was one of the bands too. Yeah, it's either Eternal Suffering or Mortal Suffering. And then if it's not, if that's not what you're referring to, they had what Chaos Fears or something album, Matrix or something. Their lyrical content was not Supreme Knowledge Domain. That band, that was one of their albums for sure. So their titles, lyrical content for me was, I mean, I want to say dumb, but it was one of those bands where like, what are you even singing about? Like, I don't get it. It doesn't seem very death metal, but nonetheless, the tunes were very very brutal. But they were one of the first bands when I started hearing. I'm like, this sounds like Discord from California. Remember when I told you guys like a few years in with the brutal shit, that's where it started to get old. I'm like, this shit, what the fuck? After around 2004, I would say it started getting extremely repetitive. Where I'm like, this crap, it either sounds like Disgorge California, Devourment, Cock and Ball Torture. Um, there was a lot of Bronico worship bands that it was just all the same fucking shit coming out. I'm like, this is just dumb. Um, but prior to that, yeah, like the late '90s, early 2000s, the band still had their own identity. Um, I remember Supreme Knowledge Domain being okay. Again, that might be Eternal Suffering. Um, but it was just like, I'll just listen to She Like Got It. I was like, better lyrics, better covers, better everything, with the fucking same goddamn, pretty much, it's pretty much the same goddamn thing. So yeah, that's kind of my take. But I mean, whatever the third one is, because I know there's Eternal, Immortal. I might be getting them wrong. Whichever one, if the Colombian one's not Immortal Suffering, I'm trying to think if I've even officially listened to that one. I'm sure I have, or at least heard it. But the two that I'm talking about, yeah, the Birth of Tragedy and then the Colombian one, I definitely know those. And then the other one's escaping me as far as like albums like that. Probably if I heard it or saw it again, I'm like, oh, this one again. It ain't standing out enough for me to fucking remember it. So that's for goddamn sure. So couldn't have fucking knocked my socks off too goddamn fucking hard. So yeah, there's kind of your answer on that. Comes with surge, you know the fucking do. Put the guy my skin in the right morning. Later, goddamn it.